Today, we're diving into a history that never was. We're exploring a world where the Great War came to a screeching halt for a much, much bigger fight.
You know those iconic words from H.G. Wells, right? Well, in this timeline, it's not fiction, it's history. The source material adds this chilling bit, and early in the 20th century, during the greatest war mankind has ever known, they came, to the great disillusionment of us all.
So just picture it. It's May 10th, 1916. The brutal, grinding stalemate of World War I just stops, not because of a peace treaty, but because a common enemy dropped out of the sky. Suddenly, the war to end all wars was over, replaced by a war for the entire world.
Yeah, this new fight wasn't about nations or borders anymore. This was about plain and simple survival. And the old rulebook? It was being torched by fire from above.
I mean, just look at the technological mismatch here. It's almost laughable. On our side, we've got the best of 1916. Biplanes, huge artillery guns, trenches. On their side, towering tripods, energy shields that nothing can get through, and heat rays that melt steel. It's not a gap, it's a chasm.
When you're up against a force like that, you've got two choices. Come together and adapt, or get wiped out. All those countries that were just killing each other, now they have one single desperate goal. Just endure.
So humanity's strategy got real simple real fast. First, you just have to stop the bleeding. Halt their advance, save what you can. Second, you need intel. Learn everything about their gear, their tactics, their numbers. And third, the most important part of all, you have to innovate, build new weapons, and don't worry about the cost.
This whole thing creates this deadly but absolutely necessary cycle. To get the tech you need to fight back, you have to risk it all on these insane missions, sneaking behind their lines or maybe even trying to capture a piece of their hardware. If you survive, the stuff you bring back, the intel, the alien metals, that's what fuels the research that gives you a shot on the next mission.
But that's the big question, right? How is a bolt-action rifle or an artillery shell supposed to do anything against weapons that basically ignore physics? Well, the answer came from one of the most brilliant minds of the time.
Nikola Tesla. His pioneering work with electromagnetic fields became the blueprint for humanity's first real weapon against the Martian threat, the Tesla cannon. And this wasn't just a bigger gun, it was a completely different kind of weapon.
But, progress has a price. The first Tesla cannons were so powerful they were making their own crews sick from the radiation. This led to a pretty wild collaboration with Henry Ford, who used his whole mass production genius to design and build the first shielded suits. And these were basically the great-grandfathers of full-on battle armor. And this table just shows you how fast things were moving. Look at the Mark I. It's a prototype, really. Now skip down to the Mark VI. You can see the range and the damage have more than tripled. Humanity was learning fast, adapting, and finally hitting back hard.
Okay, but to really get this war, you have to understand the enemy. And every single piece of information you're about to see was paid for in blood. This is intel straight from the battlefield.
First up, their history. The Martian civilization isn't just old, it's ancient. We're talking 65 million years. They came up on a Mars that was green and alive until some cosmic disaster, the same one that wiped out our dinosaurs, tore their atmosphere away and turned their planet into the red desert we see today.
The species has a name, the Arnaru, which translates to the harvesters. They're the squid-like beings piloting those tripods. And the dissections of the few we've managed to capture have revealed a biology that is just, well, it's beyond anything we could have imagined. And here is the single most incredible discovery. The Arnaru don't build their technology. They are their technology. They eat raw materials, break them down inside their bodies in a kind of biorefinery, and then literally 3D print what they need, layer by layer out of their tendrils, armor plating, complex circuits, you name it. They are walking, living factories that share a collective racial memory.
But for all their ancient knowledge and terrifying power, they weren't invincible. Earth threw some curveballs at them, things they'd never seen, and it forced them to adapt right in the middle of a fight.
And here was their biggest blind spot at the start: flight. On their world, with its super thin atmosphere, powered flight like ours just never developed. The whole idea of an airplane was completely alien to them. So our flimsy little biplanes, which couldn't do a thing against a tripod, suddenly had a whole battlefield to themselves, the sky.
But the Martians learned disturbingly fast. This chart shows you how they developed their first aircraft, the Manta Ray. Look at that speed jump. The Mark II was slow,
only about 70 kilometers per hour, but by the time they get to the Mark V, it's screaming along at 700 kph. They didn't just catch up to us in the air, they blew right past us.
And that really gets to the heart of what this war is. It's not about territory anymore. It's become this relentless, terrifying arms race. It's a war of pure invention.
It's just a vicious cycle. We create the Tesla cannon to get through their shields, so they develop faster aircraft to outrun our guns. We create armored battlesuits to protect our soldiers. They respond by turning captured humans into horrifying slave troopers. Every single time we come up with a solution, they come up with a new, even more terrifying problem.
Which leaves us with this one final question about this whole conflict. When the entire war is about the next big breakthrough, who actually wins? Is it the side that's the most resilient, the most creative, or is it the side that's willing to be the most ruthless to win?